We should also remember that the growth of a nation has little to do with the shouting to be heard in the marketplaces and the stock exchanges of the country. So, an integrated plan for the economic growth of the country, for the growth of the individual, for greater opportunities for every individual, and for the great freedom of the country has to be drawn up within the framework of political democracy. Political democracy will only justify itself if it ultimately succeeds in producing these results. If it does not, it will have to yield to some other kind of economic or social structure which we may or may not like. Ultimately, it is the results that decide the structure a country will adopt. When we talk of political democracy, we must remember that it no longer has the particular significance it had in the 19th century. For instance, if it is to have any meaning, political democracy must gradually lead to economic democracy. If there is economic inequality in the country, all the political democracy and all the adult suffrage in the world cannot bring about real democracy. Therefore, your objective must be to put an end to all differences between class and class, to bring about more equality and a more unitary society. In other words, to strive for economic democracy. We have to think in terms of ultimately developing into a classless society. But we must keep it in view. We in this country must not think of approaching our objectives through conflict and force. We have achieved many things by peaceful means, and there is no reason why we should suddenly abandon that method and take to violence. There is a very special reason why we should not do so. I am quite convinced that if we try to attain our ideals and objectives by violent methods, we shall delay matters greatly and help the growth of the very evils we are fighting. India is not only a big country, but a country with a good deal of variety, and if anyone takes to the sword, he will inevitably be faced with the sword of someone else. This clash between swords will degenerate into fruitless violence, and in the process, the limited energies of the nation will be dissipated. Now, the method of peaceful progress is ultimately the method of democratic progress. Keeping in mind the ultimate aim of democratic thought, it is not enough that we should simply give our votes and leave everything else to look after itself. The ultimate aim is economic democracy. The ultimate aim is to put an end to the differences between the rich and the poor, between the people who have opportunities and those who have very few or none. Every obstacle in the way of that aim must be removed, whether it is in a friendly and cooperative way or by state pressure or by law. Nothing should be allowed to come between you and the achievement of that social objective.